One of the nicest people I got to interview over the course of Momocon weekend was Adam McArthur. He is an actor and voice actor that's been a part of some famous franchises like Scooby-Doo, My Hero Academia, Star Wars. But most famously, he voices the lead character in Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji Itadori. Now, I got to speak to him, and he was a super nice guy, super pleasant, and just a real, like, easygoing interview. Like, 10 out of 10 would do it again in a heartbeat. Now, I know you're getting ready for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I asked him a question about that, so just wait for it. Now, without further ado, let me get to it. Thank you once again for Adam for your time. Thank you for Momocon for the opportunity. And after the intro, we'll get to the interview. Adam McArthur.
Bradford, right? Bradford. No, Adam. Adam, last name.
McArthur.
McArthur, that's what I was messing up. Thank you, Adam. I don't know where that came from.
That's okay. Adam Bradford McArthur. Good luck.
Hey, you'll explain later why they pick on me about not knowing names properly. And there's a reason. All right, guys. This is Mr. Adam McArthur, who is in a wonderful Disney show called Star versus the Forces of Evil. He has also been in all kinds of cool stuff, including Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which I like. All right, come on with questions. Thank you, sweetheart.
Jay, what's up?
Yo.
How you doing, buddy?
Alright, so my question is, so for people that want to be a voice actor, what is some advice that you could give them, and like, how can they practice when it comes to like emotional scenes and all types of stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's so many different ways that you can make it happen. I think we live in a time where you could do things like TikTok, you could do things like YouTube, you could also go a more traditional route, which is like just coming up through some acting classes. I think for people who are trying to get into the industry, the thing that they see is stuff like this. They'll see actors at like conventions, they're like, I want to do that, but they forget that it all starts with acting. It all starts with acting. It doesn't really matter what kind of acting you do. If you want to do theater, if you want to do on camera, if you want to do specifically voiceover classes, it all comes down to just being a good actor and working on your craft, which is, that's what they say. That's always a little cheesy to me. It's like, but yeah, working on your craft, like practicing, learning how to do that. As you become an actor and as you take more acting classes, I always say being an actor is like going to therapy all the time, because you're forced to face a lot of things that you might, issues you might have, things that you need to work on, whatever, as you explore like being able to release emotions when you are working on scenes and stuff like that. So for someone who's wanting to come up, there's an amazing website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. D. Bradley Baker, who is a legend in the VO industry, created that website. It has a plethora of information on it. It's an amazing resource for people, whether you're like just trying to break in, you're slightly established, or you're well established. There's lots of good reminders on there. But yeah, it all comes down to acting. So if it's something you're wanting to do, go get in some acting classes and kind of go from there, I would say. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
How you doing?
What's up, man? Good.
Thank you, by the way, for coming to Momocon. I'm Lynn Malone with Complete Nerd Authority. The question I have for you is, what was your experience with Jujutsu Kaisen? How was that for you?
My experience on JJK was amazing. It's like a multi-part answer, I guess. We started recording Jujutsu Kaisen in October of 2020, so pandemic was like going hard. We were not recording in studios, we were recording everything from our homes. So it was a very unique experience. Jujutsu Kaisen was also the first anime I had ever done. So my first time in that genre, only my second anime audition. I've been voice acting since the late 90s, but and done many other animated series, but this is my first anime. So new genre. During the pandemic, we were all required to be our own home engineers, so like adjusting audio levels and stuff like that. It was with a new studio, it was with a new director, so I had a lot of like stress going into the first season. I'm not really too affected by like pressure or hype for series. I don't listen to the noise like as far as that goes. I know JJK had a lot of hype coming into it. I try to block that out and not, get too excited about that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's amazing. JJK is a unicorn project, which means it's unique. They don't come around very often. Not only is it juicy in terms of like the thing I get to act, like there's a lot of stuff to sink my teeth into. The character's amazing. The story's really good, so I like it. Like it's something, it's fun to act, something I like. And then the other thing that makes it a unicorn show is the fan response. So it's a massively popular show. So I'm kind of getting to experience the series on a lot of levels, which is really cool. So yeah, it's been wild. And it's crazy to think for a character like Yuji who wasn't in the movie, the only thing that fans have interacted with, if they're anime only, like obviously there's the manga, but if they're anime only, is the first 24 episodes. And that ended in May of 2021. We're like 2 years apart from that. And the fan reaction is only getting stronger as we go on. So, I don't know if you guys remember, like My Hero Academia didn't really pop off until season 3. And we're only in season 1 and it's already crazy. So it's been, I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I've had and I've had nothing. So I'm very much enjoying the craziness that is the love for Jujutsu Kaisen. So I appreciate the question. Thank you. What's up, man?
Hey, my question, what anime world would you want to live in and why?
What animated world would I want to live in? I gotta go for something like mellow. I'm gonna take, I bet, did you ask KG the same question? You did?
You're the first one to get it.
Well, I'm gonna steal his answer. For what I know that KG would have said, Food Wars. I just want to eat. I just want to eat food. I don't want curses. I don't want someone trying to kick my butt. You know what I mean? Like I want an easy life. I just want to eat. You know? That's my answer. Of course.
How you doing, JP? What's the world?
What's up, man?
Quick question.
Yes.
I see you did Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yes.
When did you fall in love with Star Wars? When did you fall in love with it? How? Who's your favorite character?
Okay, so there's two things I always wanted to do since I was a kid. That was martial arts and be an actor. I used to beg my parents to put me in Kung Fu and to get me an agent. Like my earliest memories are of that. So I started martial arts when I was 11 and I was competing very heavily in martial arts from childhood through like post-college. Like really like for a long, long time. I was so involved, I missed like normal people stuff. So like movies, music. When I went to college and like people were like, what kind of music do you listen to? I'm like, whatever's on the radio, like I don't know, or like whatever my teacher had on when we were like training. Like I just didn't have an awareness of lots of stuff. I grew up in the 80s, so like I did know like when I was a kid, like Ninja Turtles and things like that. I have an older brother who was born, thank you so much. Older brother who was born in 1970. He came up on Star Wars, so I kind of got a lot of that stuff through him, like over family dinners and stuff like that. So I would say that I had a really big awareness of Star Wars and how important it was to like culturally significant it was, I would say. But I also just like didn't have time to do stuff, and I was never at home to watch movies or go to the movies or things like that until much later. So I came to the Star Wars fandom significantly later. But I was a fan of Star Wars: The Clone Wars when it was on Cartoon Network. And then when I got an audition for season 3, first 3 episodes of season 4 are the ones that I was in. I didn't know that it was Star Wars. Everything had code names. So I got this audition for this character, and they gave me an example of a character they wanted it to sound like. They sort of had like an Admiral Akbar-esque reference. So I was like, oh, I wonder if this is Star Wars. I don't know. Didn't know. Get the call that I booked it. They're like, okay, you booked this show. Go to this studio at this time. I'm like, okay. So I go. I'm sitting in a waiting room all by myself. No one was there. And a PA walks out, and she hands me a piece of paper. And she's like, we'll be right with you. And I'm like, oh, what show is it? Like, couldn't get anything out. She's already gone. She's like around the corner. I'm like, dang. Like, okay. I'm like, what is this? I think it's a contract, something like that. It's a letter, okay? It's a letter on official letterhead from Lucasfilm, okay? And it says, Dear Mr. McArthur, on behalf of George Lucas, we'd like to welcome you to the Star Wars family. And I was like, I gotta go call my mom. I was like, I've got to go tell someone about this, which you're not supposed to do. But yeah, so that was kind of like my entry point, really. And all the other actors, that show was unique in that it recorded ensemble, which means we recorded in a big group. So I was in there with like all the main actors, the legends of VO, D. Bradley Baker, like all these guys were in there. The cast of that show is phenomenal, and they're all super, super nice. So that was kind of like my first thing. And then, I mean, I did go see like episode 1 and stuff like that, but I wasn't like the guy who lined up. I just didn't know. But now, I'm a fan. Mandalorian's amazing. Like, I love that we're seeing like different, we're getting different stories from the universe. Again, because I did martial arts, like anytime Johnny Yen is in a movie, I'm all about that movie. So like, yeah. So it's been amazing, and the fandom has also been amazing. I mean, it's been years. I think I did Clone Wars in 2012 or 2013, or it aired in 2012 maybe. People come up and ask for pictures of Prince Lee Char. I heard we just saw him. I'm not caught up on this season of Mandalorian yet, but I heard we just saw him like briefly in like a cold open for one of the episodes. We saw Lee Char, I think, Prince of the Moncala. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's really cool to be a part of. I hope one day I get up to Skywalker Ranch and get to like tour that place or something. Yes. That would be super cool. So, yeah, you guys are all invited. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
James with Lookout Anime Network.
What's up, James?
I just wanted to know if there's any scenes in the upcoming season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, or even possibly after that you're looking forward to record as Yuji, or maybe even scenes that you're excited to see your castmates record as their characters.
Oh man, I want to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but I think season 2 is going to be absolute fire. Do you read the manga?
Yes.
Okay, so I think seeing that animated, I think we're so lucky. The source material is amazing, but Mappa is also doing such good work. The animation we saw in season 1 was incredible. What we've seen so far in the trailers for season 2, the animation looks amazing. The whole Shibuya arc, I think, is just going to be absolute fire. We're going to wreck people. If you're anime only and you're watching this, I've been telling people that I've been calling it season 2 Jujutsu Kaisen, just because you're going to get jacked up. It's going to be amazing. So I would say Shibuya, like all of Shibuya, for both reasons. For things that I'll get to do as an actor, that I'll get to see finally animated, and that I'm excited to see from my castmates.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty amazing. So yeah,
I'm excited to see it.
Looking forward to it. We don't have to wait that much longer.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet yesterday. It was like 40 days till season 2. I'm like, let's go.
July's right around.
July's right around the corner. Yep.
Take care.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
So a few years ago, I got snowed in at an airport, and I ended up watching 8 episodes of Star vs. The Force of Evil, a show I'd never heard of before.
Amazing.
Trapped in the airport hotel.
Okay.
I actually really enjoyed it. Not somebody who watches shows like that typically, but I noticed that you guys had this like amazing chemistry between you and the lead actress whose name is escaping me.
Eden Shear.
Yeah. Did you guys like do that together in the same room, or what?
So we didn't. We actually recorded most of the episodes of Star. We did 4 seasons. Each season was, it was like 52 episodes, but like they showed the episodes were 11 minutes, so it was like 2 episodes, so it was 26, like airings. Our first 2 episodes we recorded together, and the finale we recorded together. But every other episode, all other 200 whatever it is episodes, we did separately. But from the first time we met, it was just, I think that is why we both got cast. Is when we recorded the pilot as our like final audition to be those people, and I'm pretty sure Eden was already going to be Star, and they were just making sure that I was going to be Marco, because she's really famous and I'm just a guy. We had so much fun in the booth, and what was really cool was Eden is known for playing Sue Heck on The Middle, which was a wildly popular sitcom on ABC at the time, and I came in and I was like, have you done this before? Like, have you been on anything? And she's like, this is my first voiceover thing. And she was actually like a little bit nervous, and she kind of expressed that to me. And when I heard that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about how good I'm doing. I said, my job is to make her look as good as possible, to make sure that she feels comfortable and that we just like have a good time, and that nerves aren't the reason that get in our way. And we had so much fun. We just had so much fun recording that initial, like the first episode was the pilot, so it ended up airing. And we recorded that together. So yeah, I think a lot of that is a testament to the casting directors at Disney TVA, TV Animation. They're all really sweet people. They're amazing. They're really talented and good at their jobs, and it's their job to pair people together that they know are going to fit well together. Yeah, the rest of the episodes of the show had amazing guest stars and things like that, and I do think that like everything really just like was operating on like a really high level as far as like chemistry goes. So yeah, I'm glad that you picked up on
bleeds
that.
through, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much. What's up?
From the Lookout Network as well.
Nice to meet you.
So I see that you recorded Chifuyu from
Tokyo Avengers, yes.
What are your thoughts on the series, and what was the experience like recording for that?
Oh man. So the same studio that does Jujutsu Kaisen does Tokyo Avengers, Studiopolis in Los Angeles. And they handed me a gift with a bow wrapped on it that was the role of Chifuyu. I didn't have to audition anything. They just called me up and said, we have this good boy, and we need a good boy voice. I voiced good boys. Marco Itadori, Chifuyu, they're all really, really good, solid, like loyal friends. I'm really lucky that I get kind of typecast as that. But it was amazing. Tokyo Revengers was one of those ones, I wasn't watching it when I got offered the role, so I was like, oh, I gotta get caught up. And also, I'm 100% honest to a fault, so don't be shocked when I say this. I started watching Tokyo Revengers and I was like, why do people like this show? I do not understand why people like this. And then like somewhere around like episode 8 or 9, I was like, I need to know what happens next. And then it just got worse from there, and I was like, all right, I'm hooked. I don't know how this happened. I don't know where it came from. This guy still won't stop crying, but I need to know what happens next. I really care about everybody. I think Mikey is such a cool character, and I'm like in. Like I love Tokyo Revengers. I think it's a really fun show. I get why the fandom is so strong, and why people love that show. It's really fun. It's really fun. So yeah, it's been amazing. Thanks, man.
Hey Adam, nice to see you again.
Good to see you, buddy.
So my question is, when you went through the process of recording the shows I've seen so far, which was Star Wars, Star Versus, and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
What were some of the really like big differences in the recording process for those, and which one did you enjoy being part of the most?
Ooh, look, anytime I'm getting a paycheck, I'm happy. I'm happy to be there. I'll show up with a smile on my face. When I'm in that booth, it's my favorite role I've ever done. Do you know what I'm saying? And I learned that from Rob Paulson, who's been working a very long time, and I would like to also do the same thing. But it's massively different. Recording a show, like a Western animated show, versus dubbing like something that is made in Japan and stuff like that. When you record a show like Star Wars Clone Wars or Star vs. the Forces of Evil, when I go in, I'm lucky if I see any kind of drawing at all. There's definitely no animation done. Maybe you'll see a storyboard, which could just be a static image that's like a sketch, basically. Sometimes they edit those together and you'll see like general movement, but even then it's like stop motion. And then I have a script. What's really cool about that is there's a lot of opportunity for improv, ad-libbing, seeing what else you can bring to the character, what I call the life between the lines, which they can then animate to. You know, sometimes in a series like Star Wars Clone Wars, for example, Prince Lee Char had just lost his father, and he was tasked with kind of rising up really quickly to then lead the people of Mon Cala. And a lot of people didn't want him to be the new prince or the king or whatever. So there was a lot of moments where, you know, he would be like having a hard time with something. And then, you know, the line might be like this is totally made up, but it's like, you know, like, what am I gonna do? I'll never be my father. And you know, like some people might say like, what am I gonna do? I'll never be my father. But when you're there animating to whatever you do, it can be like, what am I gonna do? I'll never be my father. You know, like and they can like make his chest rise, and you can see those breaths, and you can really hit those emotional moments, and you know, they animate that beautifully. Same thing with Star. Lots of humor and stuff came in between the lines. Marco like hitches in his voice, screams. Marco's constantly screaming for Star. Varying lengths of stuff. So sometimes they'll write something that's really funny. There was a character in an episode of Star vs. the Forces of Evil who made pizza, and Marco loved his pizza. And I want to say, I forget what he yelled, but there was like varying lengths of like Marco, and I was like, how long do they want this to go on? I'm like, it would be hilarious if it went on for like 3 minutes, and that was just the episode. Very Family Guy-esque kind of humor. But you know, we record varying lengths, and then they animate to that. Jujutsu Kaisen, much different. All the animation's completely finished. It's like acting in a box. You have a start and an end, so you have to do all your acting within that. And there's very little moments, unless the character's back is to the camera and you don't see them, that you get to add something or like kind of breathe life into it. So I call it acting within a box. It all goes back to acting, like I said about the voice acting. You know, when we were talking about that, it all goes back to acting. It's just the technique is slightly different, you know. So you do have to have an eye. It's rubbing your stomach and patting your head when you're dubbing. You're watching somebody start to move a mouth. You have to fit it in. You have to end it at the same time. All of that stuff, and also like be acting, not just like reading. So you're doing a lot of things at once. I liken it to like vocal gymnastics, but it's super fun. It's super fun. It's just another like technique. Yeah. So it's either way, you're having fun for different reasons. So,
Great, thank you.
of course.
Mr. Q is going to be our last question.
Okay.
He's pretty quick.
Take your time.
All right, so you have talked about you doing Kung Fu.
Yeah.
You have been featured in a couple of documentaries.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you hear about that?
Oh man, those were wild. I have some wild stories. Yeah, basically there was a Chinese-owned production company in Northern California that wanted to take non-Chinese as hosts to China to basically see how what they have learned about China here held up in China. With the purpose being spreading Chinese culture to the West. So as a Chinese martial artist, as a non-Chinese Chinese martial artist, I got to go and host 2 documentaries about Kung Fu. The first one, I basically traveled all around China training with a bunch of different like amazing teachers, literally like old school Kung Fu movie style, old dudes with the white beards on top of the mountain, like hitting me with sticks, like crazy stuff. Amazing, so much fun. I've had some of the best food I've ever had during that time, where like these people would I'd be like a remote village and they would open up the door to their back, like to the back field. They would go and pick vegetables and like cook it in a giant pot. Literally old school stuff, not in any of the major cities. That was amazing. The second time I got to host a documentary, I followed the group of Shaolin warrior monks all around the world. But I also got to stay at the Shaolin temple for a couple weeks and like basically like live there with them and train and stuff like that.
That's so cool.
That was amazing. As a part of that documentary, I got to go with those warrior monks to Russia for a Russian military festival. I don't know if anyone's been to Russia. It's a little scary. It's a little freaky. Moscow specifically. I was in Red Square. I got to tour the Kremlin, which is basically like the Russian White House.
They let you leave?
I got kicked out of the Kremlin. Because the patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church, which is basically like the Pope in Russia, found out I was American. And I got escorted, both my arms grabbed by like Russian Secret Service, and escorted out of the Kremlin and kind of just like thrown out. So scared, most scared I've ever been. I literally had the thought of like being grabbed by both arms and walked out of this room that I was in, which like I'm pretty sure like no other American has ever been in. It was a room made of complete gold. Like the walls were gold, the pillars were gold. There was a throne that this dude sat in. It was freaky, guys. It was freaky. I was thinking in my head, like, why am I here? Why am I here? And then I got grabbed and was escorted out. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna die. Like, am I like legitimately? I was like, am I dying in Russia? Is this it? You know? And they just like escorted me out. It's like, it was fine. But still, I also think, like, it's hard to know, like, is the information that I've been fed my whole life, is it real? Are they actually nice? But no, like, you don't smile at anybody. I smile at people all the time. I like walked in, smiled at a dude in a suit with like his hand on his thing, like talking to somebody. I was like, huh? And he's like, alright, don't smile at anybody. Yeah. So anyway, it was amazing. But I got to do a lot of martial arts stuff, so that was good. Yeah, thanks, man.